Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Brandon Montford. I am a senior at Concordia University of Chicago. Currently, I'm studying computer science with the intention of one day getting a full-time position as a software developer. In this video, what we're going to do is I'm going to walk through my XR app that I created on Mac using Android Studios, and we're going to explain how it works in Kotlin and Jetpack Compose. Before we start, there is a couple of things that I want to initially go over. Right here is the running device. For me, the medium device API 3.60 did not run. So what I did was uh, I came to XR. This is the app, the template for the app that we're creating. And then for the minimum SDK, I put API 34, which is upside down cake Android 14.0. And then the build configuration language is Kotlin. So let's begin. The package name is XR Prime 1. And right here are the imports that I'm going to be using that are going to allow my app to run. So first things first is the main entry point. So this line right here, class main activity, component activity, is the entry point of the app. The line class main activity, component activity with the parentheses means that we're creating a class called main activity that inherits from component activity. By what I mean by that is main activity is given all the built-in behavior of an Android activity, like being able to show the UI and hook in the Android lifecycles. And the parentheses after component activity calls its construction, its constructor. Next, we're going to go inside of main activity and we're going to override the onCreate function. The keyword override right here tells Kotlin that we're replacing the parent class's version of this function. And by function, I'm just talking about the code that can automatically run. And then on create right here is special because Android calls it whenever the activity is first created. Our next line, super.onCreate. And then in parentheses, we're going to put saved instance state. The parameter saved instance state and then bundle right here is Android's way of handing us any saved data from a previous run of the activity. And then bundle is just the container for the key value for our key value pairs. Then a question mark means that it might be null if there's no saved data. Our next line is super on create right here. This is going to call the parent class's version of onCreate. This handles the normal Android setup in the background because without it, it wouldn't even initialize correctly. Now, this is where we call to set our content, and what we're going to talk about now is the material theme. So in this, set content right here tells the Android what UI, which is the user interface, to draw on the screen. And then we're going to wrap everything in the material theme so that we have a material design theme that's consistent. And this is where we're gonna name. This is where we name our app right here. The composable this line composable right here is special because it tells Jetpack Compose that this function builds part of the UI and that it can interact to state changes. Okay, right here, you'll notice that we define several state variables. We're using variables instead of values because we're gonna need these values to change while the app is running. And to do that, we need to select variable instead of value, which is right here. So first, we're going to look at the first one. Our first line is a variable. We're going to say variable, but it says var. Variable current grade by remember, and then mutable state of 50. So what this is creating a counter at 50, and this represents the student's score or progress, which can go up or down depending on what they select in the app. The next line is variable selected symbol by remember mutable state, and then what we're going to do is we're going to put string followed by question mark in these two braces right here, and then in parentheses we're going to put no. And what that is doing is it's going to store whichever emoji the user tapped. The next line variable selected meaning by remember, and then in the braces we're going to put mutable state, and then again we're going to put it in string. We're going to put the string in here, and then in parentheses we're going to put no. So what this is doing is it's going to keep track of the text label for that emoji. And then this line right here, variable selected points by remember, mutable state of, and then in parentheses, we're going to put one, is going to represent how many points to add or subtract starting with the default of one. And the reason why we wrap each one in remember, and then in braces, we're going to put mutable state of, is because Compose needs a way to observe the changes. And the mutable state of creates an observable value that triggers a a UI update whenever it changes. Right here is where we selected, excuse me, right here is where we selected our list of emojis. And this is gonna be the three icons that the users can select from, and this is how they're gonna just select from what category they are adding or subtracting points from. For the layout, we're gonna make a column. And so we're gonna do you type column and then the parentheses and then you type modifier equals modifier. This is all this is just this is the starting point. And then we're gonna do because you're gonna see this again. So then you type fill max size and then padding and then inside you're gonna put 16 point DP and then you're gonna close the parentheses. And then we wanted to align horizontally. So that's why we put horizontal alignment equals horizontal alignment. All right, so the stack column, it stacks the elements inside vertically so that each section of the UI appears one after the other. In this case, what we're going to do is we have the grade display, the emoji row, and the point selector, and the add and subtract buttons. So these two right here are making sure the whole column takes up the whole screen and it adds spacing around the edges. And then horizontal alignment is just going to make everything center so that it's more horizontal for a cleaner look. At the top right here, you'll notice that we have two different text composables. One's a label, and then one you'll notice is a little bit larger, and that is supposed to show the score. And then right here, after spacer, we're gonna start. It says okay. It says text, choose an action, and then the font size. So what we're doing right here is we're adding a row for the buttons for the emojis. So when the user taps an emoji, it sets the selected symbol and selected meaning. We're gonna go down here. This is our row right here. And then this is how we're gonna get it. This is when they click on the button. Then right here, we're going to focus on the selected meaning. And that's when, after the user has pressed it, that's when the text is gonna pop up and it's gonna show you what you'll see. And when I run it after, I'll explain it so that you can understand. All right, all there's left to do now is add the display to add the display for the selected point value, and then we're gonna add the subtract and the addition buttons. So this is where we're making our row. So right here, you see we started another row for these two buttons right here. That being the when you can add points and when you can subtract points. So that's what these two buttons are for. And yeah, these numbers inside the parentheses are important. The being 100 and 0. This is the addition, right? So this is capping off the addition, how much you can add to the grade at 100, and then the select button right here. What we're gonna do is we uh we typed course at least, and then inside the parentheses we're gonna put 0. That way, it's gonna cap the score that you can, the minimum cap that you can get a score is 0. And then these lines right here are telling the Android Studio that to render the actual UI, and then this is the preview of your app or of the app, the grade tracker app, and then this is when we actually are calling the app. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna run it. We're gonna let the Gradle build. This might take a second. It's okay. So it's fully installed. So it shows us again on the medium phone emulator, and I'll kind of go through what each of these, how each of these apply real quick. So this is the main entry point right here. This is how we get on this right here. This is the list of symbols right here. This is how you see the current grade right here. When you choose an action right here. That way, when you select either of these, when you select them, it's actually telling you the text, the meaning behind what you just selected. Then our selected points, we're gonna add 3. Then we're gonna press 3, and then it's gonna add to our current grade. And so that's kind of how it's gonna work. So if somebody was to select food and they wanted to add 5 points of food, they would press the apple, press 5, and then press plus. And then if they wanted to say they had really good hygiene, they would press 4, and then they press plus. And then let's say somebody had a good workout, they're gonna say +3. And then let's say at the end of the workout, they wanted to take down their score. What they would do is they would just press the minus, and then you select your points. And if you want to subtract 2, you press 2, then you subtract. So again, this is just supposed to be a simple health tracker app, and I appreciate your time. Thank you.